Good morning. Good Saturday morning to you. I hope you're having a good weekend so far. I hope you guys who have a 3-day weekend get to enjoy it. I don't really know what that is. I got plans, don't get me wrong. I got some plans, but I don't get like a 3-day weekend. I don't even get a weekend. I got to work today. I got to catch up. That's what I like about the weekends. That's usually when I catch up on all the stuff I got behind during the week. so, so it's my catch up. So 3 days is good for me because I get to catch up, and most of my clients won't be around. Right? I need a different job. Anyway, anyway, I hope you're having a great Saturday morning, and thanks for tuning in. I want to thank everybody who just keeps watching. That's what keeps me going, knowing that somebody's watching it, that somebody might be getting a little something out of it every morning. That's or even just when they pop in or when they pop out, which way it goes, right? But just to know that somebody is watching and maybe getting just something to help them be grounded for the day, right? So but you got to make it 2 days over Saturday because I take Sundays off for it. So that way I don't have to set an alarm. I don't have to get up. And I got to get up. Chris usually wakes me up, or I wake up early anyway. But I don't have to get up and go on and get in gear, right, to come and share from God's word. So I give myself a little bit of a break. Although I'm still up reading and stuff, so it doesn't take that away. So this morning I was actually started reading a book by Max Lucado about anxiety, be anxious for nothing. It was really good, and it reminded me of some things, and so I titled this First Rehearsal. And here's why: because I have a question for you. My question is, what are you rehearsing? And to rehearse means you do it over and over, right? I used to do piano recitals when I was a kid, and you rehearsed over and over. That meant you had a and sometimes you do a final rehearsal. It's what you do it over and over until you get it down. When you have a play, right? There's all these rehearsals. You have a dress rehearsal. You're going to do the play just as if the audience is there, so you get a feel for the whole thing, all the set changes and all of that. If you're going to do a choir, I used to be in choir in high school, and and so we always had rehearsals before concerts. We had rehearsals every day, rehearsing our part. We would break off into groups and just rehearse our part with our group. We'd go back and rehearse our parts with other groups, or with just this group, with just that group. There's a lot of ways to rehearse what we wanted to master, right? So my question is, what are you rehearsing? And here's where I'm going with that. There's so many things in the news right now. I thought when the pandemic kind of came down, it would get better, but it's not getting any better. If you, in case you hadn't noticed, now I don't just sit and watch the news, but I got plenty of people who call me and tell me the news. I see it on Facebook. I keep up, and I touch base with the news here and there. There's so many things that can just take our focus right now. There's so many things in the news that if we rehearse those things over and over in our head, the end result, the natural end result, is going to be fear, anxiety, depression, stress. There's a lot of things. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of things to be stressed out about right now. And just about the time we think there's not, there's even more, right? So my question again is, what are you rehearsing? Because if we rehearse those things over and over, they're going to drag us down. It's not emotionally healthy. We have to be emotionally healthy. Now, emotional health also means I don't just ignore the things going on in the world. I don't go live in a little bubble and sing kumbaya all the time, right? That's not practical nor helpful in any way. But what I do want to do is know what's going on in the world, because we need to know the state of the world for no other reason than we need to know how to pray. We need to pray for peace in our world. We need to pray for unity of believers. We need to pray for believers. We need to pray that the unsaved get saved. There's lots of things to pray about. And so we need to know what to pray about. We need to know where we want to put our monies, what kind of things we want to donate to. There's a lot of reasons to. We do want to know what is going on in the world. So I'm not talking about ignoring all of that and living in a little bubble. But what I am saying is, let's not rehearse that. Let me give you something else to rehearse. I'm looking at Lamentations 3. Who even hears Lamentations 3? Preachers avoid Lamentations. Lamentations is in the 70s terms a downer, man, right? Because it's talking about mourning. And we are in a state of mourning right now with the things going on with the shooting in the little school in Texas and stuff. That's horrible. It sends us into mourning, and it's okay to mourn. It's okay to grieve. But we want to rehearse something else. So listen to what David said. Listen to what Solomon actually said, or Jeremiah said. Jeremiah wrote Lamentations. He said, he's going through a really hard place. And he says this in my handy dandy New Living. He has made me grind my teeth on gravel. He has rolled me in his dust. Peace has been stripped away, and I have forgotten what prosperity is. Do you feel like those things that go on in the world are just tearing away at that peace? It's easy to feel that way, and it that's actually what's happening when we hear of these things, and that's a natural response. It tears away at that peace that God put inside of us. And so Jeremiah here is saying peace has been stripped away. Yes, Jeremiah. Peace has been stripped away. He says, I cry out, my splendor is gone. Everything I had hoped for from the Lord is lost. He's in a bad spot, right? The thought of my suffering and homelessness is bitter beyond words. He's kind of spreading it too, I'm sure. I will never forget this awful time. We're not going to forget the pandemic. It was not fun. And if it's ever over or not, we're not going to forget it, right? I will never forget this awful time. We'll remember these times. We'll remember. We need to remember so we don't repeat, right? As I grieve over my loss, and we've talked about loss many times on here, yet I still dare to hope when I remember this. The unfailing love of the Lord never ends. So he's going, I'm seeing all this stuff. I'm feeling all this stuff. This is rough, bad, hard, difficult, sad. Fill in the blank with any negative emotion you feel there, with any negative thoughts you have there. This is bad. But I will dare to hope. Can you dare to hope? Can we dare? I'll dare you today just to find hope in your situation. It's a double dog dare too, to find hope, because there's always hope, right? I will still dare to hope in God when I remember this: the unfailing love of the Lord never ends. By his mercies we have been kept from complete destruction. His mercy has kept us to right now. What is today? May 28th, 2022, 8:23 a.m. His mercies have kept us to right now. And he's not withdrawing them anytime soon, right? His mercies have kept us from complete destruction. Great is his faithfulness. Great is his faithfulness. His mercies begin new each day. I say to myself, I rehearse this little phrase: the Lord is my inheritance. Therefore, I will hope in him. The Lord is wonderfully good to those who wait for him and seek him. So it is good to wait quietly for salvation from the Lord. Isn't that amazing? So Jeremiah, sometimes we forget these were real people with real emotions, with real things happening. I mean, Cain really killed Abel. Adam and Eve had to have grieved over that, the loss of their child. They didn't even know what death was until that moment. Maybe they didn't even know. Well, they might have known some grief because they'd already suffered loss when they got kicked out when they sinned. But these are real people. Jeremiah is going through some really hard times. His native land is being captured, and nobody listened to him to begin with. And he was going, look, if we don't turn back to God, this is some really bad stuff going to happen, right? And so he's describes how bad it is, how hard it is, how emotional it is. But then he says, but let me think about God's hope. Let me think about hope. Let me think about peace. Let me think about God's unfailing love. That's what we want to rehearse. I dare you today, whatever day you're watching this video, right? I dare you that when everything starts closing in on you, I dare you to not rehearse it. Acknowledge it. This is really bad. Whew, this is bad. God help, whatever, pray for whatever you need to, dealing with it. But then rehearse. I still have hope in God. I still have his unfailing love didn't stop while I was sleeping. He didn't pull the plug on grace and mercy while I took a nap. He didn't stop giving us his peace. He didn't withdraw his peace while I was looking the other way. Even though I wasn't pursuing his peace, he still doesn't take it back. It's right there. So today I encourage you to rehearse the things that you know can't change about God: His love, His mercy, His grace, His sovereignty, His holiness, His righteousness, His throne, His kingdom, His reign, His peace. Let's rehearse those things. When the when things start bubbling up inside, we see something on the news, somebody calls us with a bad report. Let's not rehearse it. Acknowledge it, yes. Deal with it, yes. And then rehearse those things about God that can't change. Max Lucado said a phrase in his book, and I don't know if I can remember it exactly, but he said that worship will wipe away our tears, basically. Worshiping God gives us what we need to deal with what we're going through. And that's really what that is. When I see what's going on, I see the pain, I see the anguish, I see the trouble, I see the shootings, I see so many things that are so bad in the world right now. When I look at all that and then I go, okay, I'm not going to rehearse this. I'm not going to play these negative things over and over and over in my mind. What I am going to play over and over and over in my mind is God gives me peace. God still gives me mercy. God still gives me grace. God still loves me. God still loves us. God has not given up on us. That's the stuff we want to rehearse. That's the stuff we want to play over and over. We saw that all through the Psalms too, where David would say, I'm having a horrible time, but I will trust you. His declarations were those rehearsals, kind of. And almost every time he would be gut level, honest, raw, and real with his emotions, but then he would always turn it into a declaration. I will trust you. I will pursue your peace. I will let your peace reign in my heart. I will, right? And so turn your worries into declarations and rehearse peace. Rehearse grace. Rehearse the things about God that you know can't change, because this world is constantly changing and it's not always for the good. So rehearse those things about God that you know can't change. When you have a rough time today, tomorrow, any day, worship can always replace worry. Worship will always, it can move that worry out. Is that worry going to come back? Oh yeah, you can bet on it. 100% sure that worry is going to come back at some point. Those doubts are going to come back at some point. That's natural. It's okay. It doesn't mean you failed. Just when you start feeling that press in again, just go back to it. But God's peace is still here. God's grace is still carrying me. God's mercy is still here to help. God is still my help. God is still my peace. I still have hope. The way Jeremiah said it, he said, yet I dare to hope when I remember God's love, His mercies, His faithfulness. Is that most of that was down here? Yep. Right? So rehearse the right things today and let it carry you through till Monday morning when I see you then, right? I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend. Peace out. Rehearse what doesn't change about God. Rehearse the word in your heart. Rehearse his unchangeable characteristics this weekend. Have a blessed weekend. I'll see you Monday morning.